Okay, let's dive right into this. I was looking at this staggering projection the other day, and it presents just a massive macro scale crisis. By the year 2050, the global population is projected to cross 9 billion people. That's 9 billion mouths to feed. And the question staring us right in the face is how on earth do we possibly achieve that without completely destroying the planet in the process? Because frankly, our conventional methods of growing food, they're hitting a very hard ceiling.
In fact, conventional farming today kind of has a villain. We dump millions of tons of fertilizer onto our fields, but the sheer inefficiency of it all is absolutely shocking. Think about this. Plants only actually use about 30 to 50% of the nitrogen we apply. Phosphorus utilization, that frequently falls below 25%, and micronutrient losses can exceed an astonishing 60%. The rest is just wasted. It rapidly leaches away, drives up production costs, and worse, it severely pollutes our groundwater. We are basically throwing money and harsh chemicals straight down the drain.
But there is a fascinating solution. In this explainer, we're diving into a practically invisible technology that honestly blew my mind: CuO-Chitosan nanofertilizers. It's this incredibly smart next-generation tech that completely rewrites how we think about agriculture, sustainability, and plant health.
So here is our roadmap for today. 1. The global crisis. 2. Meet the nanofertilizer. 3. How are they made? 4. Supercharging plant growth. 5. Saving water and soil. And finally, 6. The future of farming.
All right, part 1, the global agricultural crisis.
Our current agricultural systems are buckling under what is essentially a perfect storm of interconnected challenges. Not only are we facing that massive population surge to 9 billion, but we're trying to feed everyone using declining arable land. Add in the increasing frequency of droughts, severe climate change impacts, and rampant soil nutrient depletion, and you can easily see why the old way of doing things is fundamentally broken. Excessive fertilizer consumption is basically a band-aid, one that's actively poisoning our environment while failing to actually sustain crop yields. We desperately need a paradigm shift.
Which brings us to part 2. Meet the nanofertilizer. The foundation of this new technology is chitosan. It's a multifunctional agricultural biopolymer created from the deacetylation of chitin. And incredibly, this comes from things like shrimp and crab shells. I mean, it's wild to think that seafood waste can act as a biodegradable protective vault for crops. It has this amazing film-forming capacity and a high cationic charge that helps it interact perfectly with plant roots. It is completely safe, highly biocompatible with humans and plants, and it actually acts as a biostimulant, naturally waking up the plant's defense and growth mechanisms. Inside that chitin vault, we place copper, specifically copper oxide nanoparticles. Now, plants only need trace amounts of copper, but it is absolutely indispensable. Copper acts like an energy drink and a protective shield all rolled into one. It regulates mitochondrial electron transport for respiration, mediates photosynthesis, and acts as a vital cofactor for antioxidant defense, which protects plant cells from oxidative stress. When plants suffer from a copper deficiency, the results are devastating: leaf chlorosis, poor flowering, delayed maturity, and these weak, sickly stems. And this is where we see the massive leap forward. The old way of getting copper to plants was literally just dumping bulk chemicals onto the dirt. Because copper availability is heavily affected by soil pH, most of it gets locked up in the ground or just washes away before the plant can even touch it. But the new way? It's a targeted nano-delivery system. The chitosan acts as a smart matrix that slowly and deliberately releases copper ions directly to the roots and leaves. It bypasses those soil traps entirely, reducing toxicity risks and making absolutely sure those nutrients are available right when the plant needs them. Moving on to part 3, how are they made?
This is what we call green synthesis. Instead of using harsh, toxic chemicals, scientists are literally using nature to build these nanoparticles. First, a chitosan solution is prepared. Then, a copper precursor is added. But step 3 is where the real magic happens. They use natural plant extracts, stuff like green tea, papaya leaves, or neem leaves, to reduce the copper ions. The phytochemicals in these leaves naturally trigger the formation of copper oxide nanoparticles, which are then entrapped safely inside the chitosan matrix. The final product? Purified particles ranging from just 10 to 50 nanometers in size. Just to put that into perspective, that is roughly 1,000 times smaller than the width of a single human hair. Crazy, right?
Part 4, supercharging plant growth. The physiological benefits here are cascading. Because these nanoparticles have such a massive surface area and high reactivity, the plant absorbs them incredibly efficiently.
The results: we see significantly enhanced seed germination. The plants develop increased root length and volume, actually growing more root hairs just to grab nutrients. Above ground, they produce higher chlorophyll content, which boosts carbon assimilation and photosynthesis. All of this leads to greater shoot biomass, better flowering, and, ultimately, a much higher quality fruit and green yield. It's basically putting the plant into overdrive. And this technology is incredibly versatile across massive global plantation crops. In coconut plantations, it drives enhanced root growth and much better nut production. For tea plantations, you get increased leaf biomass and a noticeably improved tea quality. In coffee, it improves bean development and overall productivity. And in rubber plantations, applying these nanofertilizers directly results in higher latex production. It's a universal upgrade for some of the world's most critical agricultural staples.
All right, part 5, saving water and soil.
Now, water scarcity is arguably the most significant agricultural challenge we face globally. But these nanofertilizers actually help plants become incredibly resilient to drought. First, that copper-mediated antioxidant activity acts like a biological shield, protecting the plant cells against water deficit stress and helping them maintain osmotic regulation. Basically, it keeps their cells hydrated. Second, because the chitosan stimulates a much larger root architecture, the plant can reach way deeper and explore a much greater volume of soil to find hidden moisture.
But the crucial takeaway here is that 15 to 30% number. Studies suggest that by using these CuO-Chitosan nanofertilizers, our irrigation requirements could drop by 15 to 30% while maintaining the exact same crop productivity. I mean, that is a staggering reduction. When you scale that 30% water savings across millions of acres of global farmland, we are literally talking about saving billions of gallons of fresh water, all while completely preventing the nutrient leaching that normally pollutes our environment.
Finally, part 6, the future of farming.
One of the absolute coolest facts about these CuO-Chitosan nanofertilizers is that they don't just feed the plant, they act as microscopic bodyguards. They provide this dual nutrient protection function. The copper generates reactive oxygen species that actively disrupt the cell membranes and damage the DNA of harmful microbes. This means the fertilizer itself acts as a potent antifungal against pathogens like fusarium and an antibacterial against threats like Pseudomonas. By naturally defending the plant from the inside out, we can drastically reduce our dependence on toxic synthetic pesticides.
And you know, today's controlled release technology, it's really just the first stepping stone. Researchers project that by 2030, we could see folic acid functionalized nanofertilizers. These would be hyper-targeted delivery systems that seek out specific cellular pathways right inside the plant. And looking toward 2040, it gets truly sci-fi. We're talking about AI-guided precision agriculture and quantum AI-assisted nanomaterial design, where we are literally optimizing nutrient delivery pathways at the absolute molecular level in real time based on the exact second-by-second requirements of the crop. So, I'll leave you with this. When biodegradable, microscopic delivery systems merge with real-time quantum AI, what will the farm of the future actually look like? We are moving from blunt force chemical dumping agriculture to a molecular, climate-resilient symphony. The tools to feed 9 billion people without destroying the earth aren't just coming. They are already here, and they are 1,000 times smaller than a human hair. Keep learning, keep questioning, and thanks for exploring this with us.